We're diving in today talking about which Indian Scout is right for you. So we're going to be giving you all kinds of different options, breaking down the entire Scout lineup to give you the best information out there to see which one might be a great bike for you. Let's get into this right now. Today's video, we're diving in, looking at the Indian Scout lineup, and they have quite a few different Scout models. And if you browse Indian's website, you can kind of very intuitively find just about anything you're looking for regarding this motorcycle, such as, the starting MSRP. So this MSRP right here is going to reflect the base models and the smaller engine size. You can see the engine size range from the 60 to the 69 cubic inch, and we'll dive into talking about some horsepower numbers that correlate to those specific engine models. And you can see right here as well, 78 and 100 horsepower. So let's start exploring the Scout lineup here. And you can see you have the Scout, Scout Bobber, and the Scout Rogue. Now the Scout Rogue is the one that I own currently. It's an amazing bike. I mean, it has a lot of different options as far as the horsepower and stuff that you can get. And it's a pretty cool customizing platform. I mean, it's obviously not going to have as many options as some of the Harley Davidson models, but it has a pretty good aftermarket following, and it's a relatively new bike, so it's only gonna get better in the aftermarket world for this. But let's dive in, looking at the different Scout models here. You have a bunch of different models in the lineup. So this would be the normal Scout. This right here is like I don't know, it kind of appeals probably to the older generations. It has that older style that people liked, in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's got the brown leather seats. It's got the bigger fenders. It has a lot of chrome, and that's kind of, going to appeal to the older generations. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but nonetheless, everything else is the same, right? It has the same engines, that kind of stuff. It's not got that aggressive styling that some of the newer Scout models have. And I think the shocks on this are a little bit more plush in the rear than they are on some of the Rogue and Bobber models. But you have a great aftermarket following with the different shocks and suspension that you can get on these bikes to really smooth out that ride. But this right here is the base model Scout. It is a liquid cooled engine, and all of these engines are going to be the same. I guess we can talk about the engines right now. So they do come in two different models. You got the 60 cubic inch, and it puts out that 78 horsepower, and the 69, the full size engine that you can get in a Scout, has 100 horsepower. And they're pretty peppy. I mean, it's a twin cam engine, very modern style engine. It's not like what you'd find on a Harley Davidson. It's liquid cooled. You're not gonna have to worry about overheating issues like some Harleys get. It's just a very refined engine, and these have been around for quite a few years at this point. So, it's a very fine-tuned engine. So you can see here the different lineups. I mean, they all have their own little quirks to them, and they all kind of bring something new to the table. I mean, you got different tire packages that you can get on these, from spoked wheels to, normal alloy wheels. They all bring something different to the table. All kinds of different configurations of handlebars. You got mini apes on the Bobber 20 and the Rogue models. And then on the Bobbers, you have just the drag bars where you're going to be leaning forward a little bit more, but it gives that Bobber-esque style feel to it. All kinds of different color options. And you can see all the customization and everything that kind of go along with these. And like I said, there is a very good following for the aftermarket. Even from Indian, there's a lot of stuff. And then talk about aftermarket brands for exhausts, the whole 9 yards. I mean, there is a lot of different options out there. That's the Scout, the normal Scout. Let's go over to the Bobber 20. Like I said, the 20 comes with these mini apes, which look really good. You're not getting the quarter fairing that you get on the Rogue models, but you get a nice little headlight shroud that goes over these. And you can get all kinds of aftermarket. There is Memphis shades that makes a really nice little quarter fairing that goes on the front, something that like you would see on a Harley Davidson Lowrider ST. Very club style. And this bike right here actually has some really good styling. So if you like the bobber, but you really want those mini apes from the factory, this right here has some good styling. It has the spoked wheels, so a really classic throwback there. And then you're getting a mixture of the blacked out exhaust tips with the chromed out header tubes. And you're getting a bob fender like you get on the Rogue models. And it's not as, retro as the normal Scout with these huge fenders. So you're getting a little bit of a mix of the bobber and the Rogue model. You're getting the bigger tires, the fat tires that you get on the bobbers on this bike. Now we'll talk about it when we get to the Rogue. The Rogue has a 19-inch skinnier front wheel and tire on it. Makes it handle a little bit better when you're cutting through the twisties and stuff. But this bike right here retains that bobber feel and gives you a little bit of a crossover into that Scout Rogue model. And let me mention, on the bobbers and the normal Scout, you get the chromed out caps on the heads here. And those look pretty good if you're into that kind of stuff. But the Rogue model is completely blacked out. And some of the bobber models as well. But the blacked out engine to me just looks great. And for the bobber, you see it looks the same as the bobber 20 with the bobbed fenders and keeping it really minimalist. But you're getting the alloy wheels, so those are nice, as well as you're getting just the low-rise bars, kind of retaining that bobber feel to it, where you're going to be leaning forward a little bit more. It's not as comfortable as I would say the 20 or the Rogue, but it's still got everything else there. And if you needed to, if you like the look of this bike, but you wanted the mini apes, you could go ahead and throw yourself a set of those bars on there, and it would be pretty easy. But all of these bikes have the forward controls. I'm just about positive. Yep, even the normal Scout comes with forward controls, which is a great little upgrade that you don't get on any other brand out there. I can't think of any other brand that you get forward controls on, and that's a big expense saved. I'm talking you're looking at $500 probably minimum savings just by getting these forward controls from the factory. And they are nice, high quality forward controls, very well built, very solid feel to them. So that right there is a huge upgrade that you're getting straight from the factory. Now let's look at the Rogue model. You can see it, just about everything retained the same from the bobber to the Rogue, except for this front wheel. You can see it's a bigger front wheel and a smaller tire, and it's a little bit skinnier, so it's going to cut through a little bit better. And just personally out riding this thing, it has a lot of bite. It really grips the road well. I love this quarter fairing that it has. If you're looking for that club style motorcycle, but you don't want to go out there and buy a Harley Davidson Lowrider S to achieve that, then this bike right here can give that to you. And see, the bobber just has a front headlight, doesn't even have a front headlight housing like the 20 did. This Rogue has a nice little quarter fairing, and once again they make a bunch of different quarter fairing options aftermarket if this one didn't fit your needs, but I think it looks really, really nice. Blacked out like we said, and one cool thing about the Rogue is it comes with an upgraded seat. It looks a little bit different than the bobber. You can see how the bobber doesn't have much of a slope back here. It's not as padded as when we look at the Rogue seat. The Rogue seat is an upgraded seat, and it's very similar to the Indian Syndicate seat that you can buy aftermarket that has a passenger part on it, and that's what I have on my bike currently. Excellent seat options. If you're planning on riding solo, you don't even have to change this thing out. It's an upgraded seat as you have it from the factory. Very nice option there. And then you got the 10-inch mini apes. Very nice bar setup. I mean, it is a great seated position, very nice feel. Got the forward controls mixed with the high-rise mini ape bars there. Very nice seated position. So that is the Rogue model. To me, the Rogue is the best, most comfortable motorcycle in the Scout lineup. And you can get it in that 60 and in the full-size Rogue. So this one right here, I think, is what we're looking at, is the 60. But nonetheless, it looks exactly the same as the full-size. But the MSRP is going to be, I think, about $1,200 to $1,500 less, just because the smaller engine, which in reality, it isn't that much of a difference between the 60 and the full-size. The next one we have is the regular Scout 60. Once again, more of what your grandpa would probably like as far as the styling, or your dad or something like that. Has that classic Indian Scout look to it, and no frills, nothing fancy, got some chrome on it. This one has the blacked out engine, but once again, that is your Scout 60 with the regular Scout. Now going up to the Scout Bobber, this is your full-size Scout Bobber, and like we said, pretty much has that Bobber-esque feel to it, lower bars, fatter tires, and you can get it in a bunch of different color configurations. We'll dive in here in a second looking at the colors and some of the different options you can get on it. And some of the Scouts come with the headlight housing and some don't. I mean, it's kind of what you can build, and you can go build these and have different components put on whatever you like, such as maybe you like the chromed out exhaust shields up here versus the black. You can throw on the chrome ones and mix and match different things. Now the Scout Rogue full size, you can see how the engine fills out the area a little bit better with the full size because it's got a little bit bigger of an engine. The color options on these are just amazing. I really like my Scout Rogue. It is just an amazing bike. And one cool thing about the Scouts is this solid aluminum frame. A lot of people think this is plastic right here because the radiator kind of tucks up in there, and it is plastic, the radiator shroud. But this right here is actually a solid piece of aluminum that makes up your frame. And then it has like a little subframe back here that is also full aluminum. And then it connects with a solid piece of aluminum under the tank that covers that air box as well. And it's just a really rigid, very nice aluminum frame, keeps that weight down, and then you still retain the power output that this Scout lineup has. Let's dive in talking about some different color options. So for the Scout Rogue, and that just gives you a depiction of what it looks like with somebody on the bike. It is a smaller bike, and it's really low. You can see how low this tank is. So it's about the same size and length as a Harley-Davidson Street Bob, but the Street Bob's gonna have a higher tank, and it's kind of like the Indian and Chief cruiser lineup. The tank is also a little bit higher, but it's not that much bigger of a bike, and the power output is almost identical. Granted, the Thunderstroke motor is a little bit bigger of an engine, has a little bit bigger bore, but the power output isn't that much different because the weight difference is drastic. These Scouts don't weigh near as much. Therefore, you're getting a very powerful, low weight bike. But there's a depiction of somebody sitting on this thing. And watch my videos. I have quite a few videos of me sitting on this bike. And, you know, I don't think it's too small, and I'm 5'9", and it's just about right. So color options here, we got the metallic black. That's what I have. It doesn't have too much of a sparkle to it. It really retains the nice black theme, but it does have some sparkle in it if you're looking for that to kind of contrast. So we have also the non-ABS versus ABS. So I have the ABS model. I think it's probably in your best interest to get the ABS model if you really need that extra stopping power. You know, you just never know when you're gonna need that. But the ABS is gonna run you, I think, about $500 extra. And just from my experience, a lot of dealerships aren't even getting the non-ABS model because they try to push that safety aspect as well. So they're selling a lot of the ABS models. Okay, we got the Black Smoke. This is a flat black color, if that's what you're looking for. And this thing looks amazing. Honestly, I would have probably got the flat black, but my dealership didn't have it, and I was itching to buy the motorcycle, so I went ahead and just got the metallic black. And I still don't regret the purchase, but this Black Smoke looks killer. Same with the Sagebrush Smoke. My dealership did have this one, but I couldn't get on board with the Sagebrush Green. I just couldn't. I really like the color. It's got that military scout look to it, back to its roots, but I just couldn't get on board with the green, but it is a great color option as well. And then you have the Stealth Gray. It's got the mix of the black details with that really chalk gray. I really like that color. And I almost bought one of these. They had a used model that was sitting there in this color, but I didn't pull the trigger on that one. I really like that metallic black. It's got Storm Blue, pretty cool color here. And you got a blue azure crystal, kind of a mixed two-tone as well. And then you got the copper metallic two-tone black accents with kind of that burnt orange-ish red style color. Really nice color here as well. With all these black accents, that copper metallic looks really good. So that's the color options here. Let's go over some numbers over here. If you're looking at just a basic non-metallic ABS, non-ABS, you're looking at 12.7, and then with the black metallic with the ABS, you're looking at 13.6, and that is about right. When I walked into the Indian dealership, this tag was on the bike, and it was relatively the same price as this. Got the full-size engine, 69 cubic inch, 100 horsepower, and the weight and the seat height super low. Really like this. So this is just an overview of the Scout lineup. To me, I like the Scout Rogue the best, but only way to find out for sure is to go try these in your local dealership and see what you like the best. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. And hopefully when the dealerships open up their demo rides and stuff, we can get out there and start doing some behind the bars action scenes out here testing some of these bikes. That way you can make the best informed decision when you're out purchasing one of these things. All right, guys, I'll catch you in future videos. Thanks for watching.